Come winter of 2011, I decided that it was time to head out. I was to ride north across Gujarat and enter Rajasthan on my motorcycle. There is a feeling you get when you're on a motorcycle ride. One moment, one instant, where you realize that these are not ordinary road trips. This was most certainly not a typical trip. My dream ride had started. 20 kilometers of smooth winding roads took me to an elevation of about 4,000 feet. The sun was setting, the mountains were moving in front of me with each turn, and I was reaching my first destination, Mount Abu. Day 2 of my ride to Rajasthan. I'm at Mount Abu, sitting on my bed. The real reason for me to come here is the Dilwara temple. I wanted to shoot the Dilwara temple. People here are telling me that I cannot take my cameras inside. I didn't even think about it. In fact, I should have checked up on the internet about them allowing cameras inside. I saw some pictures online. I thought all would be cool. Sadly, no. Tired too. It's been about 850 odd kilometers of riding. Bike's doing fine. So good night, and I shall go to sleep now. Bye bye. To be honest, Mount Abu offered nothing substantial for someone looking for a muse. Make no mistake, this place can be beautiful if you have the eyes for it and the time. To me though, it felt as if the hill town was trying desperately to cling to its Rajasthani roots and earn a living off it. Tomorrow morning I proceed to Barmer, and here I'm alone, so if I get a puncture or anything, which I'm really scared about, it'll be tough. Let's see how it goes. Barmer is about 350-400 kilometers from Mount Abu. About Barmer, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do there. All I know is that tomorrow I'm heading on to Barmer, and if all goes well, I would be heading further to Jaisalmer. As Diwali at Mount Abu came to a bittersweet end, I left. My map of Rajasthan took on its first fold. The early morning ride had me craving for tea, and for some reason, up in the Aravalis, there was no chai to be found.
भैया यहाँ चाय किधर मिल जाएगी? चाय अच्छा, यहाँ से सांचौड़ कितनी दूर है? 50। और सड़क कैसी है? 20 किलोमीटर खराब है, बाकी सही है। अच्छा, ये यहाँ चाय मिल जाएगी कहीं आसपास? चाय हाँ, चाय मिलेगी आसपास कहीं? अच्छा, सांचौड़ है किस तरफ? ये की है?
Gradually, lush green gave way to a barren flatland with shades of brown. One straight road cutting through the landscape and nothing else. That's what it looks like in the desert. The sand was visible now. At this point, I couldn't even begin to fathom what I was up to. This was going to be a brilliant experience, and that is all I knew. There was nothing here except the road, my motorcycle, and me. This stretch of road is when I really came to terms with my reality. I was closing in on Jaisalmer. My father and his army regiments had been posted here for years. I crossed several army convoys on my way. I couldn't help but feel patriotic as the 1971 Indo-Pakistan War was fought on these very sands. A king called Rafal Jaisal built the fort of Jaisalmer. The interiors are highly intriguing, as this was the first fort I visited where I rode my motorcycle all the way to the top. All through the afternoon it looked brown in color, but as the sun's light becomes softer, one can make out the change in the fort's mood. As I read up on the history of this fort, I begin to get an idea of Jaisalmer's importance. In the medieval period, the Jaisalmer fort saw the rise and fall of many a ruler and was also a major bastion of trade in the Indian subcontinent. Even in the present day, Jaisalmer and its sands hold a strategically important place in India's geopolitical existence. The once royal pathways have now given way to cobbled roads which bear the weight of hordes of tourists, two-wheelers and auto rickshaws. If you do take your vehicle inside, you will witness a very amusing game of incessant honking being played out. It gets so loud while you and your vehicle are waiting for some space that it actually brings a smile to your face. More than 5,000 people actually live in this fort. Also, most of the fort has been converted over time into a one-of-a-kind tourist shopping center. Handicrafts, clothing, memorabilia and international cuisine rooftop restaurants are just some of the money-spending options one finds here. Everywhere you look, from the walls to the smallest corners, one can see some item which is on sale for you to buy. A little before sunset, I reached the sand dunes of Sum. The pleasant temperatures and the calm of the desert was perfect for my kind of photography. To think of how far I had come on a motorcycle felt great. From my home in Pune to the middle of the Thar desert in 6 days flat. This wasn't the end though, this was the start. I had ridden more than 1,000 kilometers up until now, but there were a lot more milestones to be seen. A long lineup of destinations was ahead of me, but before that, I still had one more day in Jaisalmer. One cannot miss the music in Rajasthan. Omnipresent notes will catch the wind and reach your ears. The quintessential description of these desert towns and villages has to carry the words sand and sound. Life here revolves around the two. I made two very inspiring friends in Jaisalmer. Mr. Hariram Bhopa, a Khandani musician from Jaisalmer itself, and Mr. Etienne Laut, a French flute player. They were intrigued by my solo motorcycle trip across the desert, but above all, we all shared an unparalleled love for music. That is probably the only reason we became friends. My time in the Golden City had come to an end. Once again, I saddled up and head out onto the road. This time I was heading for the center of Rajasthan, Jodhpur. It's the 9th day of my ride through Rajasthan, and I'm sitting in Jodhpur tonight. I reached here yesterday in the afternoon at 12 from Jaisalmer. The ride from Jaisalmer was pretty interesting, as I was riding beside sand dunes. I left Jaisalmer at 7 in the morning, and I didn't really want to leave Jaisalmer. I've fallen in love with the city. I mean, it's like, letting go of a really close friend. And it's funny how Jaisalmer has come so close to me in just a matter of 3-4 days. In the day and a half that I have been at Jodhpur, I haven't really connected with the city. I don't know, it's not a very open city, I would say. I mean, it's the vibe of a place which you get the moment you enter. And Jodhpur doesn't have a very good vibe personally, that's what I feel. And also there's not much here to be seen apart from the Mehrangarh Fort and a palace which is known as the Umed Singh Palace. I took the bike for a round of the fort today and rode right up till the foot of the fort and came back. It's a very beautiful fort and it's a very imposing sight. I'm going there tomorrow morning, early in the morning before sunrise. I've got a couple of shots in mind, so hopefully I can get them.
पूनम जेड़ो चांद मारा रेशम सोला एक करिया बोली मारोड़ दे एक करिया बोली मारोड़ दे उगियो पूनम जेड़ो चांद मारा रेशम सोला एक करिया बोली मारोड़ दे जावन कर गयो सा कर गयो कोलियने गिनता घस गई मारे आंगन यारी बाट मारा सोना एक करिया उनी मारोड़ दे हथली रो दिलो करा करूं घट कियो मारे आंगन यारी बाट मारा सोला एक करिया बोली मारोड़ दे उगियो पूनम जेड़ो चांद मारा सोला एक करिया बोली मारोड़ दे ओला गाना हे मारा गाना मणिया.
Although I've spent 5 days in Jodhpur and shot a good collection of photographs, the city failed to inspire me. Jodhpur felt like a collection of commercialized tourist treads. After 5 days here, I decided it was time to head off again. I was now riding east towards the Rajasthani towns of Ajmer and Pushkar. As I reached Ajmer, I had now completed the crossover from western Rajasthan to the eastern part. The afternoon heat was oppressive in Ajmer. My motorcycle was in a bad way. I could hear the piston slap loud and clear. I had no choice but to soldier on. As for Pushkar, no matter where you hail from, you will find your palate struggling to keep up with the taste of the air here. From temple smells to the midday warm air at the stadium, you're in for an experience of sorts. Pushkar is not for the faint-hearted traveler.
इसके मुकाबले में दंत मंजन कम है, मंजन भी है, सुरमा भी है और कान की दवाई है। कान रहते हैं, कान दर्द करते हैं, कान रहता है, कानों में नाजायज वगैरह रहती है, कानों में चटके चलते हैं, कानों से ऊपर सुनाई देता है। 10 साल से 20 साल से 40 साल से कान रहते हैं, रहता हुआ कान 3 दिन में ठीक, कम सुनाई देता है, बहरा करना 7 दिन में ठीक। गारंटी के साथ दवा दी जा रही है आपको, कान की दवाई और आंखों के लिए बहुत बेहतरीन सुरमा दी जा रहा है।
The hot air balloon show takes place every morning during the Pushkar fair. One by one, these colorful balloons stand up and take to the sky. It is a sight to behold. As each day moves on, hour after hour of games and processions take center stage. The wrestling and kabaddi competitions are some of the most interesting games played here. Ajmer as a city hadn't offered much, but Pushkar, I think, had made up for it. I had only spent 2 proper days here, but I guess to my mind that was enough. My Pushkar tenure ended here. After this point, the more developed towns were on my checklist: Jaipur, Udaipur and Chittorgarh. A short ride to Jaipur stood between me and the capital city of Rajasthan.
सरिया बालम आउरी पधारू भारे पधारू भारे बागा मीठी
पहुंचत भो आमेर में हुक्म भूप जैसा ही, महल चील ठौरा बने बासर उत्तम माही। जयगढ़ ताको नाऊंगे भाशिव फेरी नरेश, करनी अधिकाई जिते बरनी जाति न शेष।
It's day 18 of my tour of Rajasthan and we are at Amer Fort tonight. It's almost dark, the fort's lighting up behind me and it's time for the sound and light show. It's been quite a while since I spoke to you last. There have been a lot of things that have been happening. My bike's not doing so well anymore, but she's hanging in there. So am I. Apart from that, I've crossed Ajmer, I've been to Pushkar and now I'm at Jaipur. Tomorrow morning I plan on riding back towards home via Chittor and then go to Udaipur. I plan on spending about 2 days at Chittor, as people tell me that the fort there is really huge. I'm guessing photography and everything, it's going to take me at least 2 days. Post Chittorgarh, I will head down to Udaipur, which is the last stop on Route A, Rajasthan. My next destination was a town which not many people choose to visit in Rajasthan. Yet, it is one of the most significant places in Rajasthan's vivid history. The motorcycle did well to get me to Chittor. Even with the slowly but still growing engine issues, she was turning out to be a tough brute. This bit of my ride was very smooth, as this stretch of National Highway 8 leaves no stone unturned when it comes to quality tarmac. Soon I would lay anchor in a sea of history, Chittorgarh.
ऊंचा ऊंचा मंगेरा ऊपर ऊंचा गढ़ चित्तौड़, और जगतरी गाड़ियां
I'm in Chittorgarh right now, which is the second last stop on this bike ride. After this I head to Udaipur, and people tell me that there are a lot of things to be seen in Udaipur, and that 4 days that I have decided to spend there are not going to be enough. Well, that's how life is, I think. There's never enough time to do everything. How I've changed, I don't know. Probably I'll get to know how things have affected me over this period only once I get back home. Only once I meet the people I'm used to, see the faces I see every day. Should be fun going back home as well. But alone out here atop the Chittorgarh fort, there are only a few things which are more beautiful right now. Nothing I'd care about more right now at this moment than to just stand here and listen to distant noises and look at the sun go down.
Chittorgarh was a very short stay. With only the main fort to see, my tenure here ended in a short 2 days. The history here was overwhelming. The stories of Rajput sacrifice and valor were as ripe as fresh wounds here. I visited Chittor because I wanted to understand the history. After my stay here, I could vividly recount the various eras of history that had gone by before me. I left for Udaipur with nervous excitement. It was to be the last stop on this huge road trip. We're at the Chetak Smark, which is it's a memorial of a horse basically. Maharana Pratap used to love his horse, and the horse's name was Chetak. Now during the Battle of Haldi Ghati, the horse was badly injured, and what is said is that Chetak, the horse, rode all the way across the battlefield in his wounded state and crossed a small stream, then proceeded to get Maharana Pratap across the entire battlefield as well as the stream, and then did he fall to his death. And in his memory and in paying respects to the horse and his loyalty and his bravery and his sacrifice, this memorial was built. It is known as a Chetak Chabutra. As it reads here, is that here fell dead on June 21st, 1576, Chetak, the daring and devoted horse of Maharana Pratap, in spite of being badly wounded. Chetak saved his master in his critical hour by carrying him from Rakhtatalai to the other end of Haldi Ghati. By jumping across the nearby stream to cherish the loyalty and sacrifice of Chetak, the memorial was raised. So that shows you that this is a very poignant place actually. I've been a horse rider myself, and I know how it feels to lose a horse that you love, and so it's something that I can strangely relate to, and it's an interesting place. Right now we are in Haldi Ghati. It is my first proper day in Udaipur. Haldi Ghati is about 40-45 kilometers away from Udaipur towards Jaipur, on a different highway, not the national highway, not the 4-lane highway. And the bike's not doing too well, so that's why I've taken a car and I've come out all the way. Rest is cool. I checked out a few temples in the morning. Wasn't really impressed. There was one temple in particular which was the Ekling Ka Mandir, which people told me I should definitely go. And so I did go there, but the line for the darshan was just too long. So I decided not to wait there, and since the light was becoming harsher, I decided to move on further. And now I guess it's time to head back to Udaipur.
केसरिया बालम केसरिया बालम अब हमारे केसरिया बालम अब हमारे अब हमारे केसरिया बालम अब हमारे केसरिया बालम अब हमारे केसरिया बालम रंग रसिया बालम अब हमारे अब हमारे केसरिया बालम केसरिया बालम अब हमारे केसरिया बालम तेरो अपना प्यारो लागे
Udaipur had gone from being a budget traveler's disappointment to a motorcycle traveler's delight. All because of the people I had met here. Once again I realized, not every place is made by its sights. A place is good because of the people you meet there. I considered myself monumentally lucky, as in this lake city, time and money both have to be on your side. I had some time and not much money. But thanks to the people I met, coming to Udaipur was well worth it.
अब हमारे देश
I had made some amazing friends throughout Rajasthan. Some locals, some foreigners. These people were symbolic of the all-round welcoming ethos of Rajasthan. I spent a month on the road here, and there was not one incident about which I could talk negatively. Each place had its own charm. Even the soulful food and music of Rajasthan were like constant companions throughout my trip. It is difficult not to fall for this wonderful land. Every motorcycle trip has a profound effect on one's personality and mind. You learn, you forget, you survive, and you enjoy. I took many risks taking on this mammoth adventure. Family, money, my own security, and a whole lot more. But all that matters in the end is that I did it. It brings a smile to your face when you are near personal success. This has been a very superficial account of my journey through Rajasthan. A much more detailed insight into my trip exists at www.theroadtonirvana.com. I hope you liked what you saw, and do join me next time as I visit another Indian state and bring to you my travels on a motorcycle.